Hey YouTube, this is the Flotus Maximus coming at you with another video about the dysfunctions of your family. Let me tell you, I know everybody has them, but I have dysfunction, and I got this on my chest, and I just got to get it out. Got to get it off my chest to explain to y'all how it is in my shoes and about how there's no way to fix it. And if you're probably looking for a video to teach you how to deal with your family, there's probably not going to be a video on how to deal with them. But even though I'm gonna tell you some stuff that's not gonna make it's not gonna make it any better, but I can tell you my outlook on it as far as what you should do. But it's probably not gonna make a difference for what I'm gonna tell you about the ways to deal with it. I'm just showing you from my point of view on what it looks like through my eyes. You know. Sometimes we have to realize that our families, they take a certain change from the time when you were a kid, when you get to about you're like an adult, as far as like 25, 26, 27. The whole mentality of your family is completely, I don't know if they're in another world. I don't know if it's a change in the atmosphere or what it is. I don't know what it is that came from the change from when you're a child to where you're, old enough to understand a lot of things and you're an adult. And you can see everything now and you can think clearly and you have everything as far as everything's real visual and you can understand a lot better and hear everything a lot better and look at the world a lot better. But it's like, what happened with the change is what you want to sit here and try to figure out. What happened? What made the change? It's just like you have to sit here and tell yourself, you're the change. You're the one that changed. And I have to tell myself that I'm the one that's changed, not my family. I have to sit there and recognize it and say, there's nothing that they've done. It's not, you're thinking that they've changed, but it's actually you. And that's what you should understand if you ever have to deal with your dysfunctional family. It's not them. It's not them. You have to come understanding with it that it's you. And it's not a way of a bad change that you've changed. It's not the way that you changed in a way of being bad. It's just you changed. You get to a point where in your life it's like the tricks, the same, the ways that they deal with you, the ways that they talk to you. It all comes together in your mind, and it takes a while for it to click up here. But when you were a kid, you didn't think nothing of it. You just thought everybody was just just the way they are. But when you're a kid, you can't think of what they're trying to do to you. Because you ain't got the mind. You ain't got a fully developed brain to sit there and figure out, But if you sit here and actually understand it, they've been doing the same stuff to you your whole life. It's just now you're grown up to where you can actually catch it, and you're grown up to where you can actually figure out why. And that's a hard thing to grasp. That's a hard thing to sit there and take in. It's a hard thing to understand, but it's like, this is it. This is what's going on. And I've figured it out. I've understood everything about it. But you know how I deal with it? I leave. Okay? And that's the only thing you can do. It's basically every time you go around your family, if I could explain it this way, you have a chessboard. Okay? And the minute you step on your mom's property or your dad's property, if your parents are together, that's great. But if your parents are divorced and they have their own step family, as far as the other person that they're with, I mean, that's cool too. You'll have those. You'll have your step parents and your step siblings and everything else like that. But it's like when you go and see your family, the minute that you walk through that door of their house, the game starts. And I can't tell you anything about this game, but it's kind of like chess. If I could explain it this way, it's like chess. Okay? If you know how to play chess, then you'll understand this concept. Okay? The minute you step into that house with your mom and your step family and everything else, or your dad with their step family and everything, a chessboard is laid out. Okay? You have 1 hour. Okay? Oh, I got a phone call. Hold on, let me get rid of that. The minute you walk through, you have an hour. Okay? That hour is about this long. Okay? Between that time frame, you say hi, how you doing, mama? Or how you doing, dad? How's everything? You know, how's everything going? Oh, everything's going great, son. Oh, everything's going great. Everybody's all right. Everybody's all right. You know, and everything else like that. It's like, well, how's she doing? You know, oh, she's doing good. You know, she gets around from time to time. You know, and everything else. And then you catch up and you do all that stuff, and that takes usually about an hour, about that long. Okay, but and you'll understand this from my standpoint. You'll understand exactly what I'm saying. From that time point, when that hour's done, then the game opens up. Okay, the game is already set. Okay, you have your pawns, you have your chess pieces, and you can either pick what color you want. You want black or white, it don't matter. Let's say you're white, okay, and your family's black, or your family's white and you're the black pieces. It doesn't matter. But here's how it is, okay? You have your pawns, you got your king, your queen, your knight, and your rook, and everything else like that, your bishop. And they have all their pieces, okay? You see all their pieces, you know, in this game. And this is right when you go there after an hour. Chessboard's laid out. The only thing you do in this game is you either remove a pawn once or twice. You know, that's all you can do. That's all you can do. You can't move your knight. You can't do anything as far as your knight. You can't move a rook. You can't do nothing with that. You just move a pawn every once in a while. You just move a pawn. That's it. That's all you can do. And their game, on their side of the chest, they're setting up these traps, okay? They're setting up all these things. And this is the only way I can explain it, dude. They throw their pawns out here, and they're doing this to you while you're there. And you're not seeing everything they're doing. They're throwing out their pawns, they're throwing out their knights, they're throwing out their bishops. But when they start talking to you and they say something to you after that hour frame of catching up, then they'll start saying some stuff to you to where the game starts. And then that's when they move their knight or their rook or whatever. But the whole time you're there, you're in the game. It doesn't matter if you're just trying to get along with your mom or your dad. You're in the game, okay? You're in the game. And it don't matter what you do. You have to leave the game. You can't just sit there and be a part of it, or you're going to be in a stalemate. So what I'm saying. But when you get in stalemate, that's when you have to sit there and tell yourself, I got to go. But don't let it get to the stalemate. That's what I'm saying. When the game is being played and they have all their traps and they have all their bishops and stuff set up to where you can't move your king, only because you just moved your pawn one thing, when you just moved your pawn one spot, you got your king. The king can't move. And that happens probably after about, 4 or 5 days. I don't know. Just take a tally about 2 or 3 days. Once they got all the chess pieces in the certain spots to where they got you in the stalemate, then it doesn't matter anything from that day forward. You have to leave the game. You got to put all the pieces back in the box and go. That's what you have to do. Because if you don't, then you're just going to sit there and deal with the shit until, it's never going to end. It's never going to end because the game is set up against you. That's what it is. That's the way your family is. And as fucked up as that sounds, excuse my language, it's like, why is it that my family wants to be with me, but at the same time they've set up all these locations of the chessboard to where I can't move. And if that's a way if I can explain everything, That would be the way to explain it. And if that makes any sense to you, you know, and all the moves that they make, this is the stuff they say to you. You know, this is the things they do. You know, they do something outside to where they want you to come help them and do everything that they want you to do. That's another chess piece they've moved. They moved their rook about, 4 spaces up. When they move their queen, that's when they start making you do shit that you don't want to do, because they can do anything with their queen. But that's the way I would explain it. But the way to not play the game is to just leave the game. Okay? I know that you can only see your parents, for a day, and that's messed up. You should see them longer than that. But you got to understand that you're in the game after that hour. Once that hour is gone, you're in the game. You can't get out of the game unless you leave. So that's my point of view on dealing with it. But it's like, the chess game. That's what sucks about it, is that you know exactly where every move has been put. You know exactly where every piece has been put on the board. You know exactly what's going to happen next. And it's like, there's no sense in putting all your defense mechanisms as far as everything else, as far as defense moves on your side. It ain't going to make a difference. It doesn't make a difference. You're just trying to play the game. You don't want to try to play the game. That's what it is. You don't want to try to play the game, because if you play the game, you're going to lose anyway. And you try to talk back to them, and you try to make a point with them, and you try to do everything you can to show them that that's not right with what they're doing, then it's not going to make a difference if you do all that. That's what they want you to do. They want you to get mad at them. They want you to blow up. They want you to lose your cool. That's how they win. That's how they win at the game. So when you're in stalemate and you can't do nothing else, then it doesn't matter if you go. It doesn't matter if you lose your temper. It doesn't matter if you're still in a stalemate. But if I could explain it in that way, that's what I would say. But it's like, why has everything changed, is what I'm sitting here trying to talk to you. That's probably what you're thinking. It's like, why has everything changed? It's just you. You've changed. You've noticed the simulation with your family. And I'm not saying a simulation in a way that your family's not real. It's just, this is what's been played on you since you were a kid. But they love you, They love you in a way. They do. But it's just part of the simulation of a family for you. And you might not think life's real if I say simulation, but it's real. It's not fake, It's just a simulation of your family on everything that you've grown up to. But you won't ever find out why everything is the way it was when you were a kid. You won't find out the ways. You won't find out why everything has changed from the ways you were a kid to where you are today. You won't ever find that. So don't sit here and look for anything as far as what that answer is going to be, because you're never going to find that answer. The reason is because you changed, not them.